Hey everyone, Kathy the Vegan Prepper here, and today we are going to talk about how to prioritize your holiday season so that you can accomplish the things that will be most meaningful to you and create the most beautiful holiday possible while not getting totally burned out. Let's go ahead and get into it. Vegan Prepper. Vegan Prepper. So this is one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen in my life. You can do anything, but not everything. And I think if that's even just the only thing that you get out of this whole video, if you click off now and you leave and all you do is take this into your holiday season, I think it will be so much more peaceful and so much better for you than it ever has been before. I think that those of us who end up being kind of in charge of the Christmas magic take so much on ourselves. And so basically it can become stressful, and it's supposed to be a beautiful time. And so I just sort of want to share with you some of my favorite tips, some of the things that I do to keep myself sane and to keep focused on those things that are most important to me throughout the season. So number one, though, let's discuss why this can be so difficult. And I think the main thing is that you're taking a huge amount of work that you don't normally have to do, and suddenly you are throwing it on top of all of the other work that you already have to do, which is also quite a lot. Christmas, especially, well, if you celebrate Hanukkah, that can shift a little bit. Christmas happens at the same time every year, and if you're like me in the past, you've beaten yourself up about it. You know it's coming. Why are you not ready? And just because it's coming doesn't mean you're ready for the impact. We don't build any kind of like muscle memory. Nothing about the holidays becomes automatic, I don't think, because of the fact that it doesn't happen very often. Sure, it happens every year, but it doesn't happen often. It's just once a year. And so that's basically why in my car, I still have to struggle to figure out how to run my windshield wipers every time it rains. I live in Phoenix, Arizona. It basically rains like once a year, maybe twice, but usually kind of always at the same time. And so every year I have to figure out again how to turn on my windshield wipers because there's no muscle memory. It's not automatic to me. And I was thinking about that just the other day because it rained. This was like our time for rain these last couple of days. And I was thinking about that, like, oh, this is like Christmas. This is why I don't know how to do anything for Christmas, even though I've done it before. It's just because it doesn't happen often enough. And so I had a good laugh. But I thought I had to bring that up because I think, again, so much of the struggle and so much of the stress is what we tell ourselves and how much we beat ourselves up over these things. And so that's why I want to share that. And some tips, I guess. Let's get some tips. So one of the things that I think also really helps with the holidays is if you have a cleaning schedule already in place, or you have a cleaning system, so that throwing the kind of monkey wrench into the works that is the holidays doesn't necessarily have to completely set you back or completely just blow up your whole life. If you have kind of a foundational system for how you keep things going in your home. And so for me personally, that is the organized mom method. I will link these cleaning sheets down below. Basically, they're not mine. The whole blog is good. I will say the book is good too. I found the book wonderful, the Organized Mom Method book. So there's some sort of daily level jobs that you just take a couple of minutes to do. I have talked about this before. I'm not going to talk about it too much right now. Level 2 jobs, which change kind of high traffic areas that you clean once a day or once a week, a different room for each day. You can see right there. And so level 3 as well, I'm not going to get into, but like I said, I will link the sheets down below. Fly Lady is another great system that a lot of people love. There's so many cleaning systems out there. I love the simplicity of this one and kind of the streamlined nature of it. And it's really easy to jump into this one and get started. There's not like a million things to read. Although again, if you want to read the book, I think it's worth a read. I'll link everything below in the description. Like pretty much everything I talk about, I'm going to be leaving links below. And so basically having that bedrock to kind of fall back on, I think is so helpful to keeping the holidays running more smoothly, because like I have a day that I clean my living room. Like today is Monday. And so I will be cleaning in my living room today on a Monday. And so every week little tasks are getting accomplished and your house is staying clean for the most part because you're kind of sailing through these tasks. And I think that that can be so helpful and just so impactful. So I really wanted to mention that. what everything kind of boils down to for me, for the holidays, for getting everything together, is really to choose the highest impact thing that I can do basically in every category. And so for me personally, I have certain things that I have employed over these last years to try to make it easier on myself, because there are so many categories, again, of things that we're not normally dealing with that we're dealing with at Christmas. And what are some of the things that we can do to make it easier on ourselves? So on like minimalist channels, they talk about the 80-20, or I guess other channels too, but I've mainly seen like Gabe Bolt is a great little channel to check out. He has a lot of great advice and kind of things to think about. And so he talks about the 80-20 principle, where you think about what is the 20% of the things that you do that have like 80% impact on your life, or what is it that you can do the smallest, like the most impactful thing for the least amount of work. And it might sound lazy, but it's really not laziness. It is, I think personally for me, I find it to be like, it's like intelligently managing a finite resource, right? Which is my time. I don't have time to do literally every single thing to the absolute full Martha Stewart perfection extreme, right? I have only so many hours in my day. I have 3 children who take many of those hours and who need me in various areas that don't have anything to do with Christmas. I have so many things going on that really I need to work at figuring out what are the smallest amount of work that I can do to create the biggest amount of impact. And so back to my cleaning example, for instance, today, if it takes me way too long to make this video and I don't get all of my cleaning in the living room done, I have already identified what is the highest impact job on this list that I can do. And for me, this time around, because everything's basically clean, everything is pretty much put together, vacuuming is being done. I have a robot vacuum now, which I highly recommend. If it is even remotely in your budget, if it's even in the realm of possibility for you, yes, get the robot vacuum. I've been wanting one for well over a year, and we finally just got it on this last Black Friday. And I can link the one that I got, but it's like $100 more now because it's not Black Friday anymore. But just so that you can see it, it's fantastic. There are many out there that are really good. I will share with you one tip I got that one person who has one herself shared with me. Get yourself the self-emptying kind. That will really impact how useful and helpful the thing is. And I'm really appreciative that she told me that. And so then, yeah, that's what I got. I got one that has like the little bin that self empties at the end of its cleaning cycle, or in the middle of its cleaning cycle. When it gets full, it goes back and it empties itself and then it continues. Oh my gosh. Game changer, you guys. Not only because it vacuums for you, but because in order to vacuum, you have to keep your floors clean. You have to, or else you can't run the vacuum. And it's like picked up. I mean, oh my gosh, everybody's picking oh my gosh, it's amazing. So many levels of awesomeness in that. If it's even remotely possible, I highly recommend. But so that is an example of a really high impact decision, very little work. But anyway, sorry guys, it's relatively brand new. I love that thing so much. Its name is Bruce, after the shark in Finding Nemo. And I realized only after the fact that it's perfect because Bruce is a vegan shark. So anyway, so the highest impact job for me in my living room is dusting. That is the main thing I need to get done. For me personally, again, I live in Phoenix in the desert. It's insanely dusty here. I can dust, and then usually by the next day, it looks almost like I haven't dusted at all. So the highest impact thing that I can do in my living room to make it look the cleanest that it can possibly look is to dust. And so I know that if I get nothing else on my list done today, I will dust at least. And that will be the best thing that I can do in that area. And so it's kind of identifying via categories in certain spots around your house, in certain whatever you're looking at, whatever you're needing to do, what is the highest impact thing that I can do for the least amount of work. And so I have another example for you, just like a little visual example, which is my earrings. Basically, I love a big earring as far as this concept. Now that might not be your thing, and that's totally fine. I'm just going to give you why, for me, it has been a really big help. I also think, for instance, If you don't like really big flashy earrings, like these are pretty flashy. They're rhinestoney. But I think the fact that they're long and more slender makes them a little bit more reasonable. But if you can find yourself kind of a large earring, that will cover pretty much every single one of your jewelry needs for potentially needing to dress up for events, whether it's a holiday party. You know, if I put on a red sweater instead and these earrings, I'm done. Like I'm done, literally done. I look super dressed up every single time I go to a party or whatever I do, and I have these earrings on. I've had them for almost 10 years now. These are like my favorite earrings for this time of year. This is when I wear them. And I put on these earrings. I get so many compliments every single time I wear them. And I'm like, you realize you complimented me on these earrings last year, but I don't think people remember. Like they really don't remember. So anyway, it's a very low level of work, super huge impact. I don't need a necklace now. I literally need no accessory but these earrings. Super simplifies, streamlines all of my holiday parties, dressing up, getting myself ready. So there's just like one more example for you. Another example would be maybe for my makeup. So I didn't have time to do some big full makeup routine like I can do. I've done in the past. I have some videos where I have some really done up makeup. I have like I don't use foundation. I don't use powder, but I strategically use concealer. I just do like a couple coats of mascara. I line my waterline. I do my eyebrows, and that is basically it. And that is all I do for my makeup. It takes me less than 8 minutes to do it. And so I have a little video of me putting the makeup on for this video so that you can see how simple and streamlined the process is. It'll take maybe a minute, so you can skip ahead, I guess, if you don't feel like watching. But just so you can see, like I have broken it down to the absolute bare bones of what do I have to do to my face to make it look like I put effort in. So it's like the most amount of impact with the least amount of work. And for me, the two main things there are probably lining my waterline and concealer. Those are like the two most important things for making my face look really like made up. And so let's go ahead and watch that. My next tip for you involves holiday baking, as far as low work, high impact holiday baking, getting the most done in the least amount of time. Let me tell you what, if you don't know about them yet, I hope you will soon. Spritz cookies. And so this is a Wilton cookie press that I got probably close to 20 years ago, because I remember distinctly making these for the first time in our very first apartment we ever had after we got married. I've had this for a very long time. I picked this up at Walmart at the time. I will find some sort of equivalent to link down below. But yeah, it's the Wilton cookie press, and it comes with a recipe right on the side. And so basically I just make it vegan. So I'm using like Earth Balance and an egg replacer instead of, you know, the animal stuff that they call for. And it works out perfectly. And so basically the idea behind this is that you make the dough, you roll it up, stick it into this thing, and then you're pressing. Let's pretend that there's dough in it right now. I wish I had actual film of this. That would be so awesome, but I can't do voiceover. So you're just gonna have to have me talk to you, and just use the power of your imagination if you can. Come with me on a journey and see this. So basically you take this, it's got a die in it, and you go, And that is how you make your cookies. And it's like ding, 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 ding. It is so fast. So yes, it makes, the original recipe makes 7 to 8 dozen cookies. And it is one of the fastest things that you could ever do for your holidays. Like it's ridiculous how little work it is. And then it is super simple to create a really high impact, kind of fun, almost nostalgic collection. And then just in case you don't know what these look like when they're done, here's another shot of the box. So that's what they look like. They're like basically those kind of butter cookies you used to get in a tin. And you can decorate them, dip them in stuff, do frosting, do sprinkles. Or another thing that my kids love to do is to say, like we have these shapes. For these 2 shapes, they love to take and put a chocolate chip in the middle of these 2 before they get baked. And that works really well as well. And so there's some things that you can do to kind of make it have a little bit more variety. But the really awesome high impact way that you can bring these to a party, and it's the same kind of thing like with these earrings. I'll get like compliments from the same people. And I'm like, do you not remember I did this exact same thing last year? And it's like, again, it doesn't come around long enough or often enough. I think that people really remember things. And so I got this tin at IKEA a few years ago, and it's definitely super beaten up. It's seen better days. But once it's full of cookies, you don't really see the dents and stuff. So basically what you can do is take yourself cupcake liner, and you can get super festive ones if you want. I just use these because they're like the if you care, like compostable ones or whatever. It makes it look kind of rustic and fun, and I love that. But if you want it to look fancier, then by all means get yourself some Christmas themed cupcake liners. And basically, but I'm not going to buy special cupcake liners because we're, again, most impact, least amount of work. And so you can line your whole thing in here, put these in here, stack 3 to 4 cookies in one of these, maybe even 5. I can't, like I said, it's been a long time. I can't remember. Do a whole layer like that, and then do a whole second layer right on top with another set of these. And then it ends up being super nostalgic, like those little tins that used to come with the butter cookies with basically these around stacks of cookies. And so what ends up happening at parties, or, you know, whatever, is each person can just sort of take their own little muffin cup of cookies, and then that's like the cookies that they get, and it feels super cute. I always make sure that every single muffin tin or muffin cup, each one has different cookies. So it's not all the same stack, it's not all the same cookie, but especially if the kids got creative and put some sprinkles, did some little like pearls or whatever, we did any frosting or dipped any in chocolate, that all takes a lot more time. If you stick to the decorations that you can put on just before you bake, that makes it take a lot less time. But whatever is decorated and cute, I just make sure that there are a different one of each kind or whatever, or sorry, each cookie is different in each muffin cup, if that makes sense. And so that, again, is just a super high impact way to bake a ton of cookies. It's a ton of cookies. And then you actually might end up with enough to do like 2 tins, if they last in your house. But yeah, that is one of my absolute favorite things to make around the holiday. It's a tradition. We make those with the kids every year. In fact, I'm going to be making them tonight. So I will try to get some footage of the finished product for you. Hopefully we can get that done. But yeah, I think it's sort of things like that where you try to come up with what will make the biggest impact, what is the most impactful thing, kind of the easiest thing to do. Another thing for us, because we are Christian and we love Christmas and we're celebrating the birth of Jesus at Christmas time. And yes, I know it's not his real birthday. I'm well aware. I'm just saying that's when we celebrate, okay? We're celebrating the birth of Jesus at Christmas. Bringing him in is also really important. So I like to do Advent. And so like kind of for every night of Advent, and then we're not perfect. Sometimes not everybody gets to be there. Somebody's off doing something else or whatever. But for some of the nights, at least on Advent, I mean, I'm there every time and I read it. But I like to do a little reading. And then this year I found this book, which is just a kind of a cute, it's like an adorable little book. It was written by a sweet woman who is basically taking pieces of the typical Christmas season and making it about Jesus, like making it symbolize Jesus. And she basically says in the front that she knows that these things don't really, this is not really what they mean, but it's a way of taking the symbols so that when your kids are looking at the different aspects of Christmas, they have something to think about that's relating to God or relating to Jesus. And so for instance, the number one thing on December 1st was the tree. There's the evergreen, and it points like this. And so it was like, so a lot of them are super simple, even like for a little kid, that it like directs your eyes heavenward because it's literally pointing towards heaven. But then also the fact that it's evergreen, it's everlasting life. And so there's a lot of really good stuff. So it was written by this sweet woman. Her daughter did all of the illustrations. So it's kind of a homey, like sweet little book. And I just recommend it. It's like a stocking and, you know, sort of taking all of the things. And now, so far, it's been super cute and it was relatively inexpensive. I think it's early enough in December that if you want to try to get yourself a copy, it would still be worth it. But you could have it on hand maybe for next year if that is also something that makes a big, or that's important to you. So for me personally, again, trying to keep the focus on Jesus and making it about, you know, things that are higher than ourselves. So this is, again, one of those things that's very low effort to just read a little story or read a little excerpt, but it has a big impact. And so I thought that I would just mention that. I'm trying to find a page. There we go. So see, it's very short, and that's about how long they are every time. And so, yeah, I think that that's good. I was going to talk about gifts, but this is getting long, so I think I will do a separate thing on gifts. But one thing I do want to say, especially for people in your life, you can do simple homemade gifts. I have some things on the channel that I think would make great gifts in jars. Say my my hot chocolate mix. Again, everything's linked down below. My hot chocolate mix is great. My pancake mix, both of my pancake mixes, especially if you know somebody who's gluten-free, you could try to make them a gluten-free pancake mix, but you have to be very careful if you're dealing with somebody who's genuinely like celiac disease. They also may not feel comfortable taking something from your kitchen. So maybe the best thing that you could do is buy sealed, guaranteed gluten-free ingredients and give them the ingredients with the recipe card for how they can make their own gluten-free pancake mix. And it's fantastic. It works very well. So I just wanted to mention that for anybody who has a true allergy, like I deal with, my son has a peanut allergy. As sweet as it is, if people want to bake for me, I'm like, okay, we'll take it if it's vegan or whatever, but Elliot doesn't ever eat any of it. Like, he doesn't eat it because I cannot trust something that comes from somebody else's kitchen unless they themselves also have that same allergy or whatever. And it's nothing to do with not trusting people or like they would do anything on purpose. It's, I think, unless you have the allergy, you are never as careful as somebody who has the allergy. So you might just, without even thinking, do something. So if there's peanuts anywhere in your house, my son can't eat what you make, basically, is what it boils down to. And so that might be the same thing that happens for anybody who has an allergy. So I just thought I would mention that. If you want to add, like if you want to make a jar of pancake mix and add something like this little waffle maker. I love this thing. This is the second time I've mentioned this on the channel now. I literally just made waffles this morning. I have 2 of these now. They are so fantastic. Talk about low work, big impact. You take a jar of my pancake mix, you make it in the morning. Honestly, waffles, you know, you think of waffles as being fiddly. They are not. They are the perfect kind of in a rush breakfast. 1/4 cup of mix into there, like, well, not mix, but you know, the batter, 1/4 cup into there with just a tiny bit of olive oil brushed on the inside with a silicone brush is how I do it. And then it's 5 minutes and you have a waffle. It looks exactly like a little Eggo waffle. It is so cute. So yeah, I literally just made these this morning, but these are only about $11 or $12. And so one of these with like a jar of pancake mix, along with maybe the recipe card, I give you permission to share my recipe so that the person can make their own mix later. Something like that, I think, super cute, big impact, low amount of work, low amount of money, something that for the most part is going to get used. I don't think that you can underestimate the cuteness factor of something like this. So there's something about it, and I think it's like with the cookies in the tin. There's just something kind of adorable about these little cookies, and they look super fancy, but they took almost no time. And so I would encourage you to sort of figure out, look at your own life. Are there places in your life where you can try to come up with ways of creating the biggest impact with the least amount of work? And I also know that several of you who are watching right now, some of my like my most loyal and best subscribers, or I hate to say best because you're all great, but you know, like there's certain ones where like I recognize you in the comments, and every single thing that comes out of your fingers as you're typing is just pure gold. And so any of you who are constantly leaving helpful things, please leave your own tips down in the comments. What are some of the things that you do? Low amount of work, super high impact. One of the things that I'm going to try for the first time this year, oh wait, let me get you a visual aid really fast. So one of the things I'm going to try this year for the first time is a charcuterie board. I hope I just pronounced that correctly. But I'm going to use at least 3 or 4 of the cheeses from this book, 1 Hour Dairy-Free Cheese, because every single recipe I've tried out of this book has genuinely been delicious. And I have said many times on the channel that cheese is something that vegans still need to work on. I think a lot of why these particular cheeses are so great is the fact that the lady who made the book is not really vegan. As far as I can tell, I don't think she is. She went dairy-free, like against her will, but she was originally... because it started making her sick against her will. She was originally a cheese maker, somebody who made actual dairy cheese. And so she transferred all of her skills into learning how to make dairy-free cheese. And this stuff is incredible. There is actually, now that I think about it, there is a powdered cheese mix. Wait, did I just turned right to it. It's a sign. There is a powdered mix she has for basically creating like a queso type dip, but I used it for macaroni. It was seriously good. But that kind of thing too, like a powdered cheese mix or stuff like that. There's so many ideas for jar type mixes that you can do that would just be amazing. And again, not really very much work, not really very much money, but you tie it with a cute little ribbon. People appreciate that kind of stuff. Give them the recipe so they can make their own, so that not only are they receiving a gift, but they are learning how to potentially stock their own shelf with convenience items so that they can end up, you know, making their lives easier. But I want to try to do a charcuterie board, which also seems like a giant impact thing that would be easy with some of these cheeses, you know, crackers and fruit and all of that stuff. I can't wait. And as soon as I manage to do it, I will show you guys. But yeah, stuff like that, you know, you just got to come up with it every year, figure out your things that are the most important to you. For me, definitely, it's kind of, you know, time with my family, time in the light of the Christmas tree, no other lights on, just the Christmas tree, with some of my hot chocolate, the hot chocolate mix that I make, some of that in mugs, sitting around talking, enjoying each other. Jesus is the reason for the season for us. And yeah, obviously presents are a big deal, gifts are a big deal. And trying to just do as much as we can to make time special. And so gifts, I'm going to kind of leave that maybe for another video, but I think that also it depends on the person. I will say, again, we're managing our time. I feel guilty, like, oh, I just knocked off a thing. Oh, my amazing earring just broke. I have to come up with a new earring now. Oh my gosh. You guys, my earring just broke. It just snapped off. We've had a good run. It's been like 10 years. I'm gonna figure out how to fix it. I know somebody who makes jewelry. I can fix it. But anyway, what was I saying? Gifts are difficult. Sorry, least amount of work. I'm gonna leave that in because that's hilarious. Highest impact, least amount of work. As far as gifts go, I will say something that I picked up a tip and I thought was brilliant, is to stop thinking you're going to fill a hole inside of somebody's heart with your perfect gift. Like, I'm going to make them happy. I'm going to make them, you know, make their problems go away, or you're trying to fulfill some deep inner need or longing with a gift, trying to make the perfect gift. That way lies madness. Really, one of the best things that we can do as gifts, and now that I'm thinking through my life, every single time I've done something like this for a person, it's been met with like over enthusiastic happiness and joy. Basically, you give a person a really nice version of a thing that they already use in various categories, whether that is, you know, your hygiene, cleaning, stuff like that, like cleaning. Say the person is interested in being more eco-friendly, but they haven't figured out how to do that. Give them a really nice loofah and like a dish bar, a bar soap dish soap thing. Things like that. Like, so give them kind of a really nice version of something they already use or something that you always need. Say, I don't know, I'm like off the top of my head, you know, a really nice kind of next level body wash, especially if you know this person and you've ever heard them say anything like, oh, I would love this, but like it's a bit expensive, or there's like, oh, that's kind of too expensive, oh, wouldn't that be nice, or little comments like that you might hear from people. Take note every single time you hear something like that. So say, you know, a $15 body wash is crazy. Like, you wouldn't spend that maybe on yourself. Maybe some of you do buy $15 body wash. I do not. I use like the shampoo on my head and I just wash my body with it like that. Like, I'm so basic, but like, somebody who maybe likes to something like that, where they wouldn't necessarily spend it on themselves, but it's like kind of luxury and wonderful and they will use it. Yeah, that's amazing. Like I love that kind of stuff. And I think a lot of people do too. Bamboo toothbrushes, or, you know, whatever you can think of, like things that people use. And I know it seems crazy or it might seem dumb, but if it's a nice version of something that they already use, or something that they're gonna need, or something they'll use up, especially since so many people are concerned about clutter, that can go a long way. So yeah, a huge impact. Low work. And so yeah, hopefully that helped you out at all and helped you figure out how you might be able to get some peace into your holidays. Yeah. And as always, I hope the rest of your day is good and your life stays wonderful. Seriously, if you have any other ideas, definitely let me know in the comments down below. See you guys later. R.I.P. earring. This is my best earring.